Identity with Tayanika. Hi and welcome to another episode of Explore Your Identity. Today I'm having a conversation with another amazing guest. Here we have conversations about different perspectives and stories that have shaped who we are. I've got Skelly today. She's a professional boxer and I cannot wait for her to tell us a bit more about who she is and what she's currently up to. Carly, welcome.
Hi, you okay?
Yeah, before we get started, Thumper, who is she? What is it?
So Thumper is my boxing name. And when I started boxing, because I'm little and I'm small, but when I'd get in the ring, I'd like to have a bit of a fight.
Yeah.
So my boxing coach started calling me Thumper. And funnily enough, my nan, my partner's nan, Phyllis, used to always call me a little thumper, and her favourite film was Bambi. She's like, oh, you're a little thumper, you. So when I was turning over from amateurs into professional, I just wanted to have a nickname, and unfortunately, my nan passed away before I had my first professional fight. Mm-hmm. So it was a way of keeping her alive on my journey of boxing. So I had Thumper put onto my shorts, and the name just stuck.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it is, definitely. So, the Carly that I met and that I know is a professional boxer, right? But I'm really interested in knowing a bit more about your origin story. And is there anything in particular, like when you look back, is there anything in your childhood or growing up that you can kind of pinpoint to, that you can look at and think that's kind of shaped who I am today? How did we end up with Carly, an amazing boxer?
Yeah, I think for me, growing up, boxing was not I was around or seen really. So it was never a thought to think one day I'll become a boxer. But I think in Liverpool, we kind of have this maybe concept that we all say is that, yeah, I just had a normal life.
Yes.
And I think when we get a little bit older and we actually see a definition as normal being a little bit different, I suppose there is no definition of normal. But I used to think, yeah, I had a normal life. I grew up with my mum and dad and I had my brothers and sisters around me. And yeah, we had a nice life. Mm-hmm. And it's only more so over the past few years when I've looked back at it, and maybe I've had more struggles as I've gotten older in life. That
like
when I look
we all
back,
do.
Yeah, I look back and see the adversities that I have overcome, which have definitely obviously built the character that I have been and am today. Mm-hmm. And I remember going back to probably the age of being about 6 and 7, and my mum actually lost their brother. He was murdered. So my mum's brother and wife and one of their friends were murdered, and the whole story was quite, a really horrific incident. The house was set on fire and the kids were all there, and yeah, it was quite intense. And I remember, obviously, when we were all little, our mm-hmm. parents tried to protect us. Mm-hmm. So my mum didn't go into the detail of it as such, but I remember sitting watching the telly, and I was sitting there, maybe 7, and I see my mum on the telly. I was like, oh, there's my mum and dad. And it only when I really looked at what it was, is that it was my mum and dad coming out of court and loads of my family on the telly, and they were coming out of court and they were in a murder case. And I think from that point then, there was a lot of change that happened in my family. Mm-hmm. And my mum's mental health changed, and she had a lot of struggles from that point, which obviously affected the full family. And she did her best. She was an absolutely amazing mum, and, we all did our best growing up. But yeah, it definitely led me to be quite a strong person. I felt at that point maybe I had to be the defender and the protector of the family.
Take me to like your family structure. Were you like the oldest or the youngest, or what was it like?
Yeah, so in my household, I was the oldest. So there was me, I had a younger brother and a younger sister. I had 2 older sisters. They were from my dad's previous marriage. We didn't have the same mum. So in my family unit in the house, I was the oldest.
And what role did you play?
I was
Being the oldest?
Yeah, definitely the protector.
Yes.
My dad had to work, and he was at work a lot, and then he was obviously supporting my mum when she'd have her struggles, and it was probably kept quiet. We might have been aware of what was going on with their own mental health.
And what was your understanding of it at that age?
I think sometimes we try to protect our children so much that we maybe don't tell them as much as we think they need to know. And I think with that comes a little bit of worry. And it probably built my own curiosity as to why things were the way they were. And maybe, you know, I was hearing things from cousins, aunties, and, you know, I had a little bit of a jigsaw and I put the pieces together. And I think I took the role on as that, you know, well, I'll be the one to kind of lead the way in every way that I could. And with that, it led to me to be really strong-willed, but it probably led me to be a little bit controlling as well as that. Not in a toxic way of being controlling, but just trying to keep myself safe, trying to keep my family safe, and probably closed off a little bit to maybe letting people inside as well.
That's what I was just thinking. Like at that age, I can imagine sometimes when you have things going on at home that you don't completely understand, it's not always easy to open up, I think.
No, and I think something I've learned, and I try and be so open with my own children, we learn to keep secrets. Because if our families are trying to keep secrets only in order to keep us safe, it kind of allows us to then say, well, it's okay to maybe not share how we're feeling. And that's something I definitely didn't do for a very long period of time, is if I ever felt like I was struggling, I would never let anyone know. I wouldn't want to burden anyone. And I felt like I had to be the strong character. And I suppose it's a belief system that it's okay to keep a secret.
Yeah. But, well, I'm glad that you kind of recognize it and you're leading as a mom differently.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every generation has got their own way of kind of dealing with things, isn't it? And it's only when you're older you think, okay, you like with me, I'll understand why certain things happen the way they did, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to raise my children the same way. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you can kind of look through the eyes of compassion to understand people have done what they've done for the best. But I suppose our parents, when we look at it, we're more like the era of like their parents who have, you know, gone through war. Being evacuated.
Yeah.
They've obviously made changes, and then again we keep making them changes in the aim to make a better way and a better future for our own future generations, really.
Yeah. So at what age would you have got onto the boxing path?
So the boxing came quite a lot later. So when I'd left school, I'd gone on to uni. I had my first child quite young. Now I had my own struggles through my own teenage years, and I knew I needed to kind of like do something, provide some stability in my own life, kind of trying to break a generational cycle, if you want to call it. So
I get it.
I went to university, I went and got my degree in nursing, and I was a nurse for a couple of years, and it was after having my second child, Thomas, that I took a little bit of a break. And in that break, I was doing a lot of running. I was maybe running from some of my own problems. I was maybe not wanting to address some stuff that I had going on inside, but I did a lot of half marathons for charity. I did the full marathon, and I ended up picking up an injury, but I came to a point where I needed that end goal. I needed something to work towards. So
it was definitely good for your mental health.
Yeah. It helped me. It definitely supported me at the time. It stopped me addressing things at the same time, but it got me through those years, and I learned a lot about myself. But when I picked up the injury, I wanted to do something, so I actually just started off with boxing as a charity fight. And never in a million years did I see it going the way it did, but within a couple of years, it just spiraled into, you know, a great journey. But from the white collar fight, loved it. My partner Paul was a boxer years ago. He took me to his gym, and I boxed as an amateur, and that again, just so many fights, boxing in really big competitions and doing really well really quickly. But I came to a point where I was a little bit older, and I got into it at 29, and a lot of these young boxers coming through, had more time on their hands, if you want to say. And
Yeah.
I wasn't as young, and I thought, where am I going with this?
Mm-hmm.
So after the conversation with my coach and my family, I made the decision to turn professional. And again, I think that was over the 4 years,
Yeah.
with the mindset from the life that I've lived, I've learned to never give up.
Mm-hmm.
Keep knocking on the door and someone will answer, especially when you bang loud enough.
Yes.
And
And sometimes if no one lets you in, just push the door and get in. That's what I do.
And I think that was definitely needed in the world of professional boxing, because that came with many, many challenges itself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to sell, not just box and turn up on the night, but I'm having to diet, I'm having to sell tickets, and I'm having to deal with some of the problems that are in boxing.
And what are some of the problems? As a female, especially?
So that in itself isn't an easy ride, being a female in boxing. Women's boxing over the past few years has been absolutely incredible. And we're seeing a massive turnover in how we're getting opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But behind the scenes, what women are paid compared to men is a massive difference. So there are definitely inequalities that we're still seeing. And yeah, that's something that I know a lot of women are, pushing for and fighting for, to kind of balance out. And we're still a long way, but we're definitely closer.
And do you think, why is that? Like, I would think if you're a professional boxer, there's kind of a standard in terms of pay, regardless of gender.
I think the argument for maybe men involved in the sport would say men do more rounds, and men, they do 12 rounds if they're fighting for titles, whereas women will only do 10, and we're fighting 2-minute rounds, men fight 3-minute rounds, and the audience of who's actually going to be watching the boxing is more men are tuning in for men. So that can be like the argument side of things, but is
it more like a female audience for female boxers, or?
So, no, I think
it's mixed.
With boxing, men and women are on the same bills, the same shows, a lot of the time. And I know a lot of boxing fans out there will agree that women's fights are sometimes the best fights on the whole bill.
Yeah.
We're seeing some of these, young athletes who are getting opportunities on really big stages, maybe before they're ready.
Yeah.
Maybe because of, who they know. There's so many politics in boxing.
Wow.
And yeah, you'd have to really fight loud and hard to be seen and to get that opportunity. I remember I was really, really lucky for my first title fight. I boxed for the Commonwealth title.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a televised fight on Sky Box Office. And I was not getting a lot of money fighting for the title fight for 10 rounds, being on the bill on Sky Box Office. And there were men on the same bill who were fighting for smaller rounds because it weren't a title fight, getting, significantly
I can imagine, because we hear about it in the news and everywhere when they have some of these major fights.
Yeah, and it just leaves that little bit of sour taste, and I think that has been the hardest part of boxing. I absolutely loved boxing, especially in the amateurs, and the more around the political side of it, there was a lot of love lost along the way because
that's such a shame.
Yeah.
And for us looking from the outside, you don't really look at it that way. I'm like thinking we're in 2023 and every year it's Women's Month. Like we met at a women's event, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, we've come a long way. It's such a shame that it's kind of still like that in the boxing world.
Yeah, definitely. And at the same time, like
women deserve to be paid.
Yeah.
What they're worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think with boxing, it's at the end of the day, my last fight, I'm fighting for the world title again.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting stopped, concussed. My boys were watching that. My family were watching that. We're all putting ourselves in the firing line still, so we deserve to be,
exactly.
on a little bit more of an even playing field at times, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's a lot of amazing people who were, backing us all the way, and a lot of amazing people that got me the opportunity.
I was looking at some of your record, like on the fights that you've done. Like you've done really well. I hope you take time to be proud.
Yeah, yeah. I think after my last fight, I was probably really hard on myself for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watch fights now, and I'm like, wow, there's some of the best of, they've been beat, they've been stopped, and
And they still carry on.
Yeah.
So what's your current path at the moment? Because I know you said earlier on the first thing you did was nursing when you left school, and then boxing found you along the way. So what you're currently working on?
So actually I've had these conversations with people for a while now, but it's the first time I've actually put it out there on a, a bigger scale.
Yes.
But I have retired in boxing.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, so this is
okay.
the first time I've actually said it out to the world, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love an exclusive.
Thank you for giving me this platform.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been really lucky, and during this whole journey with me boxing, me and my partner Paul, we've been together for 20 years, but we're like business partners as well.
Oh, good. How does that work for you?
That definitely comes with a challenge.
Oh, good. But you can navigate around it. That's good.
We know each other so well, so we know what both want, what we expect. But we've set our own business up over the past few years, which is doing really well now, and we're working on helping people heal their own past traumas and pains. And trying to be the inspiration to empower them to live their best lives and go beyond the limitations that we've all had instilled with us by family, society, and to be able to actually...
And just life, sometimes life just happens and you find yourself in situations, and I think it's important, if you're going to be the best, this is what I always say, if you're going to be the best version of yourself, you need to kind of work through all those traumas and just let things go and have that self-awareness. It's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And the day we first met, that was a conversation we had about mindfulness and how important all of that is. Yeah.
Because honestly, when I think sometimes of my journey and the challenges that I face on a daily basis, like my challenges are on a daily basis, being a mom, running a business and everything in between. I have to have that mindfulness for me to actually get through a day. Sometimes I need that mindfulness more than anything else. So yeah, it's really important, and I'm so inspired and glad that you are taking that and, helping others. Yeah. So going back to the boxing, or just your life in general, is there any particular things that you'd say were like a big achievement for you?
Yeah, I think for the boxing in particular, that first televised title fight was a massive achievement.
Yes.
And I think it is sometimes you have that imposter syndrome in ways. I'm just a normal girl, I'm from Seaforth, just this normal girl from Liverpool, and the next thing I'm walking up. Big bill. Unfortunately, it was while there was lockdown, so there was no... we weren't allowed people in there, but still I kind of look past all of that, because walking out to the light, all the cameras at you, all the clicking, I forgot that there was no one in the room, and I was just so in the moment. It was an incredible experience.
Amazing. So what's next? You did touch on a little bit about what you're currently doing, but what's next? Anything we need to know about? Or you're continuing on this path that you're on now?
Yeah, I think I've come to say goodbye to the nursing days, and I've come to say goodbye to the boxing days. But as a fighter, I'm really keen to get me boxing badges and help out and coach both of my boys at box, but my youngest is really into the boxing, so I'm hoping to explore the coaching side of it now.
Boxing mum, are you? Is there boxing mums? I'm a dance mum. So my two are dancers.
One's football, one's boxing. So luckily enough for me, I like sport.
Oh, good. So that helps.
Yeah.
I think you'll be a good mentor for them.
Yeah, I think life experience is always helpful. I think when you can resonate, when you've been there, it lands better with people, so they can, they can know you've been in the ring and understand them.
Yeah.
So.
And where can people find you if they're looking for you online? Where can they connect with you and what you're doing?
Yeah, so we've had our business has gone really well, and we're expanding. So we've got the website now, which is www.packedmentality.com. And that just explores all the different kinds of offerings that we do with our new business now, which is human development and mental wellness.
Yes.
And we have, my Instagram page is Women's Pact Mentality. It's mentality, not mentality.
Yes,
and the reason
I
why
noticed that. Yeah.
Paul started it, so I joined in. So it was Pact Mentality. And then when I joined, like, how are we going to work this? It was Women's Pact Mentality. So
it
if
works.
anybody wonders,
Yes.
that's the reason and why.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I do have me Carly Thumper Skelly page, which is my boxing page, and I probably don't use that as much because that was always a platform to help, advertise me fights coming up and helping me sell tickets. So yeah, that's been a little bit quieter now, but if anyone wants to explore some of that boxing side of me, then there's plenty on there as well.
Awesome. So now we get into the part where I get to have a bit of fun with fashion related stuff. My first question for you, Carly, is there anything unusual or something that I wouldn't expect to find in your handbag that you walk around with or on you most of the time?
So I don't know whether it's because I've always been a bit of a tomboy in a box. I don't have a handbag.
Oh, good.
I don't carry one because I lose them.
Oh, right.
Whether that's maybe,
So where do you put your stuff? In pockets? Or?
Yeah, so my phone has got kind of like a little string, so that's there. And then everything, like cards are in like... I've got one of those covers that the kids laugh at me for because it's a close-up cover. It's not like the most fashionable cover.
Oh, and then you fit all your other bits in there. Oh, I love that. Very minimalist.
So yeah, I'm quite light on my travels.
I'm a bit of a bag lady. Like, you should see the size of my handbag. And all I've used today is a notepad and my phone. Like, did I need to bring everything else? Is there any particular item of clothing that you'd say you've got like an emotional attachment to?
I don't think I can think of an emotional attachment.
I had one which I had to put in the bin because after lockdown, like I used to get up every day because I did my homeschooling, right, during lockdown. So I'd get up and get ready. I went through the whole process of having my shower, doing my morning routine, which I spoke a little bit about, I think, when we had the other event. So yeah, I went through the whole thing. I'd do my morning routine, have my shower, get ready, but I didn't bother putting makeup on and probably didn't do much of my hair. That I'll probably wear a hat or a scarf or something on my head. But I went through all that. But I'd find that I'd get dressed and then put my gown on top, this pink one that I had for years. In the end, I just had to put it in the bin. So that was a bit of an emotional attachment because now that I got rid of that one and I bought a new one, I don't feel as emotionally attached to it as I was with the other one. But it was kind of like, when you've washed it too many times and kind of put it in a dark wash and it's pink and it's got a bit purple and all that. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that was my emotional attachment. Yeah.
I've probably got some gym clothes that are probably ready for the bin, but they're comfortable.
Yeah.
I like to be comfortable when you go to the gym. So I probably can only think of that. And whether jewellery counts, I've got this bracelet on.
What is it? Is it like gemstones?
Yeah, but it's the little thing on it. It says believe in yourself.
Oh, I like that.
So a couple of years ago, we said on Christmas Eve, we were all going to give each other a gift in our house. Mm-hmm. So we'd all pick like a name out of a hat. And my eldest son Aidan got me that. And that's been with me a lot of my journey. So I'll only tend to wear it when I'm maybe feeling like there's a piece missing. I need that little support.
Yeah.
So it's maybe like a little bit of a good luck charm for me.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. And what is your definition of fashion from a tomboy kind of perspective? No handbag and no pressure.
I love a good pair of like gym leggings, vest off and trainees.
Nice. Yeah.
If I go out, I do get excited to get dressed up, but it's probably because I'm so comfortable in my gym wear a lot.
Oh, good.
So,
yeah. And is there anything in particular that you like shopping for?
Probably not.
No,
not I'm your thing. Not a big shopper.
Yeah.
The only thing I've probably got myself really excited for, because I've never been like really into fashion as such.
Yeah.
But me and Paul were actually meant to get married a couple of years ago now. And I went from being, because I was boxing at the time as well, and it was quite hard because I was like quite muscular and I'm trying to look for a wedding dress.
Yeah.
And I turned to this like little girly girl for the day, and I absolutely was mesmerised trying dresses on.
Oh.
And I felt like a little princess for the day. And I think because I'd always been into sport and
Yes.
quite tomboyish, and I just was like, oh, I'm a princess today.
Oh, good.
And the sad thing was, is I found this gorgeous dress. It was the perfect dress. And then like lockdowns happened. The wedding got postponed, and in the end, it just didn't happen, which I'm okay about. But I didn't get to be that princess for the day.
Well,
and the dress was
maybe
absolutely stunning.
since you enjoy the experience, this is maybe a reason why you should try again.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because you actually enjoy the wedding dress shopping. So,
Yeah.
Is there anything you absolutely hate shopping for?
Probably just most things. I don't think.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I
Yeah,
think I'm
that is
probably more-
true.
Yeah, I think I prefer to just online shop,
Yeah.
but then I do it, and then I don't really like the way it fits on me.
Do you like return stuff or you just keep them?
So I'm a dinosaur when it comes to technology. So trying to send something back is a big thing for me. So no. And I actually made my first returns to Amazon last week.
Oh, good.
And
Well
it all
done.
went well, and I was like, wow, look at me.
Well, I will order a whole wardrobe here. If it doesn't fit, it's all going back. I'll go through the whole process of unboxing and boxing it back, taking it to wherever I need to take it. But yeah. So last but not least, have you got a fashion question for me? Fashion related? What would you like to know? What would you like me to answer?
So who maybe is your inspiration, or where did your passion for fashion come from?
So, when I look back, there's different inspirations, right? But my very first memory of anything to do with sewing and fashion would be my grandmother. So I remember being about 5 years old. My grandmother used to have one of those handheld Singer sewing machines. I don't know if you ever came across them. They were black, vintage. They're vintage now, but you used to kind of wind it with your hand. She had one of those, and I would sit next to her and just watch her, because she never used to let me sew, and I'd be begging her to sew, and she'd just say, no, you need to watch, because she was obviously scared that I'd stitch my finger or something. So I used to just sit there and watch her while she's sewing, never let me do any sewing. I probably did a bit of hand sewing, like learn to sew stuff by hand. So that is probably my first inspiration. But I also say my mom was a big inspiration for me when it came to fashion, because she just genuinely loved to look good. And she still is very stylish now, but my mom was very much about following the rules, like if you've got a big chunky necklace, you go for little earrings. If you've got big earrings, no necklace and all that stuff. So she does realize that I don't follow the rules. I break the rules and I make the rules. So she's always like, how do you do that? How do you manage to wear like a big necklace, big earrings, lots of bracelets, and still get away with it? So yeah, so I would say, my grandmother and my mother were my first inspirations.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I've got loads, like, along the journey. So many things have inspired me, but those have been my first memories of fashion. And then my mom did actually buy me a sewing machine when I was that age, because my grandmother never allowed me to sew. And I obviously was begging my mom for a sewing machine. And she bought me one of those Tommy Sew Reel. I don't know if they're still there. I'll have to check Argos. But they used to be called Tommy Sew Reel, and they sold them in Argos. I think they're everywhere now. But at the time, I think Tommy Sew Reel was the only, like, the main brand. So I had one of them, but I don't actually remember making anything. I do remember spending more time trying to figure out the threading, because with the sewing machines, once you get the threading wrong, it doesn't actually stitch. So I do remember a lot of the time trying to figure out how to do the threading, but it all did help me to be who I am today. So yeah, we've come to the end of this episode. I am going to share all your links and stuff so people can follow what you're doing. And don't forget to like, to subscribe and share this episode. And I'm sure you inspire somebody. I am Taya Yus, and I am the host of Explore Your Identity. Thank you for watching and listening, and be sure to tune in or listen to the next episode, and together we can take on the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Explore Your Identity with Tayanika.